Okay.
Hello, for the audience.
Going?
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Noah Bota. I hope you're doing well. Did you think that hippie communities, living communities, were a thing of the past or a fragment of your imagination? Well, they're not, because every year in August, a bunch of people gather together and live communally, basically like a hippie community in Eugene, Oregon, Veneta, Oregon, outside of Eugene, and it's called the Oregon Country Fair. So what, where, and why? The Oregon Country Fair is an annual event lasting 3 days, and it happens the second weekend in August, and it is a celebration, an exposition of alternative lifestyles, products, and creative expression. And to best explain the country fair, I'm going to be going over the history of it, some highlights of the event, my personal connection with the event, as well as the impact that COVID had on the event. All right. So the fair was founded in 1969, originally as a Renaissance fair, and then through the time, and it's like always been very community centered, and all the profits that were made from the very first fair went to funding for a school, a local school nearby, which is cool, and they just hit the 50th anniversary mark in 2019, and which is the last fair that they held. And over the years, it has evolved into have pathways, lots of philanthropic as well as educational pathways, and it is very earth-centered and sustainable. All right. Some highlights of the event. There are 45,000 people that attend the event each year. And it's a culmination of all kinds of people, from jugglers to yogis to magicians and musicians and much more, and just a common passerby as well. And everyone that comes kind of commits to like a cultural commitment of respecting each other, and through sharing information as well as sharing communal showers, lots of people can converge towards similar goals. And then what to expect when you show up at the fair. You walk through the figure 8 map is the layout of the fair, and there's a plethora of booths selling like crafts and art and merchandise, and it's lots of local artists from Oregon and sometimes elsewhere that are selling their thing, and there's food, and then there's stages with music and shows of all sorts and educational things, and then there's like daycares, and there's lots of stuff going on, and there's something for everybody. And that brings me into my personal connection, which, as I mentioned, there's shows going on, so there's an entertainment sector, which is what my dad's career is in, and so that's why my family is part of the fair family, because my dad has performed there for a long time. And so I've been to 16 fairs out of the 19 years that I've been alive, and I've performed at like 3 or 4 of them, maybe 4, and and the benefit of being part of the fair family, like being an employee of the country fair, is that you get to camp for the weekend and however long you want on either side inside of the fairgrounds, whereas everyone that buys day tickets will camp outside or just come for the day and then go back home. So when it closes to everyone with the day ticket, then it's a whole different experience between the people that are most committed to the fair community after hours, and that's a lot of fun. And another thing, some things you'd expect to see is a big drum circle at the fair, as well as parades with people like lots of painted bodies and bands and all sorts of different like paper mache animal like heads with people wearing them that are on stilts, and just like all sorts of cool stuff like that. All right. And how COVID impacted the fair. Obviously, as you'd expect, they had to cancel the 2020 event, but hopefully 2021 or 2022, if that is what it takes. But they did get to have a virtual fair, and they set up a program where people could contact and sell and buy from the local business owners that usually depend on the business from the fair. So I hope that I intrigued you about the Oregon Country Fair, or at least entertained you about it. And COVID permitting, you could go to the country fair too, or you definitely could in a couple of years. They sell all their tickets beforehand, and so you can't buy tickets on site. But it's a great time, and it's it's an amazing experience that I would recommend to anybody. And yes, thank you for listening.